everybody, I'm Nora Burrows. Today I want to make some placemats out of this charm pack. I got 2 charm packs of the Spooky Darlings charm pack by Ruby Star. They were on sale at Fat Quarter Shop. They may still be on sale. I'm not going to use all the pieces from this charm pack. I am going to substitute some of my own fabric. I'm going to make 8 placemats. Each one is going to be different. Let's do it. Each placemat will have 6 5-inch squares. Not all of these are from the charm pack. So let's see, this one is my own fabric. I think for that, all these other ones are part of the charm pack. If you get 2 charm packs, you have plenty to do all 8 placemats. I did substitute out, for example, like the bunnies just don't really make sense for Halloween, so I didn't use those. Same with, you know, these little like dot Halloween people. I didn't use those. Or this candy piece, which actually, this one I really toyed with using, but I just decided that I would rather use some of my own fabric. You can also see up here, I've laid out all of my other placemats. So this orange one is also one that's not in the charm pack. What you want to do is cut a bunch of squares. I'll tell you how many, but your squares are gonna be 1 3/4 inches square. Now I used this stripe. If you don't use a stripe, if you use a non-directional fabric, it will be easier on you. But I used the stripe and I want my stripes to reverse in each corner. Let me show you what I mean. I'm gonna fold these on the diagonal to make a triangle. And I'm gonna pin them in the corners. Now I wanna make sure that my next triangle next to this one is going the opposite direction. So if I put this in half and I put it next to it, you'll see that these stripes are going vertically and these stripes are going horizontally. So that's what I want. I'm gonna do that for all the intersections, here, 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 but I'm not gonna put them in the corners. So I'm gonna leave the corners regular. So I had cut 20 of these 1 3/4 inch squares, 20 for each placemat. Now you'll notice, if you look at any individual one of these squares, all of the stripes are going the same way. So even though, you know, going around in the circle, they change, for each square, they should be pointing the same direction. At this point, I go ahead and take a picture so that when I bring these pieces over to the sewing machine, I'll know how they fit back together when I'm done sewing on the triangles. I have my pile of pieces here. I'm gonna take one and take out the pin in one corner and open it up. I'm gonna make sure it's really lined up perfectly in that corner and sew from corner to corner. You can draw a diagonal if you want, or you can just eye it. Notice I left all of the other pins in the piece. And I'm going to do it for the next one. I've sewn 1 round of each piece, so now I'll do the same thing. I'll take off another corner, open it up, sew it, until all of my striped fabric is sewn to my 6 blocks. I have all my pieces sewn on. For some of them I'll have 3 corners and for other ones 4. And what I'm gonna do is cut the back part off of my 1 3/4 inch square for each one of the little stripy squares. I'll do this for all of these. Then I'll iron this back and we'll have something that looks like this. And here you can see how it kind of starts to come together. These have not been sewn together yet, but the pieces are ready. I really think this looks pretty cool. So what we're gonna do is sew these 2 pieces together, right sides together, 1/4 inch along this seam. Same with these, right sides together, 1/4 inch, and then we'll sew the opposite direction, flipping this up 1/4 inch along this seam. Next, what I'm gonna do, so I have these 2 pieces, these two and these two. I'm going to sew these two pieces together, right sides together, 1/4 inch along this seam, and iron them open. And then I'll sew this full piece to this full piece, right sides together along this seam, and iron it open. I finished the body of the placemat as with the other 8, as you can see here. Let me just take this one, put the other ones aside. What I want to do next is add a couple of borders. And so I've cut some strips of this fabric. This is not actually Halloween fabric. Funny enough, a Malibu Barbie fabric by Riley Blake, but I think it goes well. So I cut these strips. They're 1 1/4 inch wide by the length of the placemat, which in this case is 14 inches. So what I'll do is attach a strip to the top and the bottom, and then I'll attach them to the sides. I've sewn these strips on. I cut a couple more strips for the sides. These strips are the same width, 1 1/4, by the width of the placemat, which in this case is 11 inches. So now I'll go ahead, I'll sew these right sides together, 1/4 inch along each of the sides here, and then I'll fold them open. Finally, we'll put a thicker border on and then make our quilt sandwich and bind them up. I have my first layer of border on, and I've cut strips for the next border. These strips are 1 3/4 inches, and I've cut them to be the length of the placemat. I'll attach these on and then add the side borders. The placemat top is done. These side borders were the same width as the top and bottom, 1 3/4 inches wide. Next, I'm going to make my quilt sandwich. I've cut a piece of batting and a piece of backing. In addition, I have my binding strip here, and I think this binding is going to look really nice. It's, you know, a thicker stripe than here, so it'll be a little theme and variation. I'm going to make my quilt sandwich, do a little bit of quilting, add on my binding, and then we'll be done. My placemat here is done. I love it. I think it's really a lot of fun, and then this black and white stripe along the binding really gives a little theme and variation to the thinner stripe on the inside of these diamonds. For the quilting, I did stitch in the ditch all the way around this outside border, and then I would go kind of in on the diamonds and then along the outside of the square, in on the diamonds, and then all the way around just like that. And then I also quilted along the diamonds on the inside. So I have this one done, and then I also have this one fully bound, which is also a lot of fun. They're just so great how all the fabrics are different, but really complement each other well. And then I have a bunch here, the other 6, which still need to be, the binding is sewn on, but I have to hand stitch the binding to the other side, which does seem a little crazy to hand bind placemats, right? I mean, this would be a project that you could, you know, very easily machine bind your project, but I love hand binding, so it gives me a lot of joy, but it will take a little bit longer. I went ahead and clipped back the binding on these other 6 placemats so that you could kind of take a quick look. The finished placemats are 13.5 inches by 17.5 inches wide, and what I love about the charm packs is you really get fabrics that you wouldn't normally pick. So for example, if I was, you know, these are Halloween placemats, obviously. I wouldn't typically pick this, you know, sky fabric, but it works, and it was part of the charm pack. Now this one over here was not part of the charm pack, as I mentioned, neither was this orange one. So it's kind of a mismatch of things, which is kind of cool. The ghosts are fun. A lot of these are in various colorways. So you have the skulls in the kind of lime green here, and then, you know, back on this one, they were black. This is another print that I wouldn't typically choose for Halloween, but I think it works really well. It was part of the charm pack. And then this fabric here is one that also shows up in a couple colorways, and I think it's just fantastic. It's kind of like this lacy look, but they kind of made it have a spider web type feel, really cool. I think it's also in this pink. I mean, this is one that I would actually consider getting some yardage in. This would make some great backing for the placemats, and it has it in the gold as well. And this is the last one here. This is the one I'm in the middle of binding. You can see it's partially bound. It's upside down. And that one has the gold lace print that I like so much. Thank you so much for joining me for this project. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.